Hi guys, welcome back to Less is More. My name is Dan Wellman and today we'll look at how Less provides basic namespacing. Over the last few parts of the series we've created a range of mixins. If we wanted to tidy things up a little, we could group some related mixins using a namespace. For example, if we wanted to group all of our mixins to do with shadows, we could use a namespace like this. So we'll find our shadow mixins, here they are. And we can just organise things a little better just by using a namespace. So a namespace starts off with the hash character and it encapsulates all of these related mixins. So all of those mixins are now grouped under the shadow namespace. So now when we want to use one of these mixins, we have to use the namespace as well. So let's do that. So there's a few places where we use the shadow. So it's thrown an error there because we haven't used the namespace yet. So it's namespace now, and we'll need to specify the name of the namespace, followed by the greater than angle bracket. So because we're starting off with a hash, Less knows that it's not a descendant selector, and we'll just make sure there's no more occurrences of that. So we need to namespace all of the places where we use this. I think that's all of them. Yeah, so now we should be able to compile again. And if we just look for a text shadow, so yeah, that's come out exactly as it did before, which is great. It's used in a few places. So using namespaces is as simple as that, really. It doesn't get much more complex than that. We can use multiple namespaces if we wish. So we've got a couple of different types of shadow mixin here within the shadow namespace. So we can just separate those out further if we wanted to. So we could add another namespace here called box, for example. So once again, the curly brackets just encapsulate all of the mixins that are to be within the namespace. So we don't actually use the box shadow anywhere, but if we wanted to, we would just need to use both of the namespaces. So we start with shadow, and then we use the box namespace, and then we use the name of the mixin as we did before. So once again, it's very, very simple. There's nothing complex. It's not a massively awesome feature, but it can really help to organize things within our Less files. So in this part of the series, we looked at the basic namespacing capabilities of Less. Using namespaces is an effective way of grouping related variables or mixins in order to keep our Less files better organized. It's also useful for packaging up a bunch of Less code for distribution and sharing. And if you look through the Less files included with Twitter's Bootstrap, then you'll see that they use a lot of namespaces in there as well. So although it's debatable how useful they can be, they are used in the wild, so you do need to be aware of them. So namespacing is quite a basic feature of the language. You might be wondering why we didn't cover this sooner. Well, the reason was simply because we didn't really have much need for namespacing earlier on in the series. When we were just looking at things like variables and nesting, it wouldn't really have been beneficial to look at namespacing at that point. But now that our Less file is becoming a bit more complex, it's more beneficial to see namespacing when it's actually required rather than just as a feature. So that's why we didn't look at it sooner. We've not left it this long because it's complex, just because it wasn't really relevant before. In the next part of this series, we'll look at JavaScript evaluation inside Less code. Thanks for watching.